Austin here from Purity Music, and today I've got a bit of a teardown and repair going on, so let's go straight into it. Okay, so what I have here is the Behringer Europower PMP6000, which is a powered 16-channel mixer from Behringer, obviously. Now I know a lot of people say that Behringer build quality isn't great. I actually disagree. I use a lot of Behringer stuff in my setups, and I actually really when I got this particular mixer, I chose this one for one of our churches, and I absolutely fell in love with the way that the desk is set up, its input and output stages, how its monitor sections work, and the FX monitors. Now, I actually, you might notice that normally, for those of you that are familiar with this particular range, normally the FX1 and the FX2 are assigned to the red and the amber sliders, and normally the red and amber knobs are also on FX1 and FX2. Well, when I labelled this desk up, I labelled it up with red to be monitor 1, yellow to be monitor 2. Therefore, the monitors that go for 1 and 2 are also marked up with the red and yellow. So what I actually did was I actually swapped out the plain FX1 and 2, which they don't tend to use, into the FX, back to the monitor ones, which were the light bluey-green colour. And I actually swapped them out into the monitor 1 and monitor 2, because that way then at easy glance, you know if you're doing red, it's monitor 1 doing number 2, so you know you're doing yellow for the monitor 2. So at a quick glance, you can quickly go there, boom, adjust what you need to. So rather than to go, that's monitor 1, that's monitor 2, and then make your way up the board and find out where you are, which I know some people do. I know I end up doing that. So now I've changed out all those effects ones so that it's obvious. Right, but what we've got, it's been recently pack tested, so although electrically, I'm going to use those quote marks, although electrically safe, what pack testing doesn't do, as I'm sure most of you are watching this, if you're anywhere near inclined electronically or whatever, you know that pack testing doesn't tell you something works. Although there's a legal requirement, especially with some insurers, etc., to have items that are being used by workers, volunteers, etc., or being used in public places, that things should be PAT tested. PAT stands for Portable Appliance Testing. So here in the UK, anything with standard 3-pin plug has to be PAT tested. And then there's different rules and stipulations, which I won't really go into on this video, which says the frequency of which certain items would be tested. So obviously what the PAT testing does is to just help ascertain that an item is electrically safe, that you're not going to touch the metal on it, you're not going to get an electric shock, that power is not leakage, and that they aren't leaking out anywhere, and that it's drawing what it should, and it's not outputting power somewhere else because there's a drop in it, and that there's no and that there's nothing wrong with the isolation on it, and like the earth bond continuity, all that kind of stuff. So that's what very briefly what the PAT testing does. But although this was just recently, 1 week ago, was PAT tested, I was told there was a complaint of, or a concern of overheating, burning, that kind of thing. So with that in mind, I had it under probes for about 8 hours, under load, and didn't notice anything. So it got PAT tested, then rather than doing anything, I opened it up. Now a broken jack had fallen into one of the monitor slots up here. And there was a part still in there, which was the tip of one of the jacks was still in there. So looks like it's gone in. I managed to remove it. That was fine, but wondering whether there was another piece or something that was loose. But what probably happened, and it appears to have happened on the output stage, because over here apparently, now I picked up the highest heat here, and this is nearer. Here is the power input. The main power supply is under this section here, but under a plate, which I'll show you in a minute. But where they were saying the main overheating was happening was actually around this area, which was odd because under the load I was doing it, now I'm not going to have it ridiculously loud, but I was pumping enough load in there, made sure that I had the right impedance cable, the right impedance speakers running on this unit via the speakon outputs, which are out here. So underneath, the power supply is here, then the output, sound output supply is here. So they're linked together, and obviously the mixer does everything else. So, as far as this is concerned, we don't know why. They've told that the fans are ramping up, but the heat was coming from around here, underneath where I was told where the handle is. So therefore somewhere along here. And there isn't actually inside the board, there is nothing along here. But what I did find was that the part that I found was loose and it was under here, under this section. Now, I took that out, so I didn't get that. So, okay, so that's gone. Didn't do it, absolutely fine. But I was told last Sunday it was doing it again. There's obviously the smell, there's heating up, a bit of a smell, but it was coming from this section, mostly around this section. So, although the hottest part I had was here, under probes and under testing with a few, with a temperature gun thermometer, this is where the complaint is being told. So we're going to open it up. We're going to have a look. Now I have already opened it up, but I looked on YouTube myself to make sure I was getting the disassembly right. I didn't find anything, so I've managed to do it. Disassembly was actually very, very easy. But if you need to disassemble, this is where you're going to find it. So very, very simple disassembly. There are 3 screws along the front, underneath where the handle is. So there's 3 screws. Then there are another 3 screws up the side on the top of the main control panel here on the main board. And then there are 6 screws on the angled section, an upper and a lower up in this section. So along the back section, just behind the inputs, there's 2 screws, 2 screws and 2 screws. So 6 screws there altogether. So I think that's 12 screws altogether. Fast math is not my strong suit. So anyway, so I've already undone those screws. So then, from the front, you lift up. You might need to get a plastic prying tool just under there, just to bring the sides out just a little bit. You can see you might just need to pull those out. But as I've already had this off, that's fine. So as you take this off, the actual mixer section and the modules, which are in 2/8, come off completely, as you can see. Now, just put that on there, and then you can see you've got the whole board. And you've got 3 modules. You've got 2 8-way mixer modules, so both are in 8, so you can obviously replace these if you had to. And then you've got your LED board, and this is your controller board. And then you've got your output stage, which has your FX and everything like that on it. And then this, which is stuck to all the components on the back, literally is for what powers the system. So this section, that cable there, we'll put this aside now. Then you are obviously find the plate. Now, when I took out the component, I literally took that out. I could hear it shaking around, pulled it out, boom, landed on here, perfect. Carried on with it and got out of it. So didn't need to do any more. So I thought. So obviously a week later. So anyway, those cables go down in through there. Now this section is already undone. Okay, so you don't need to do any more screws, and literally this section just lifts up from the back, and you're in like thin. Fantastic. Nice and simple. Now, what we are now looking at is the input power, and the output power stage. So your power comes in here. There's your power switch. There's your IEC adapter for those in the UK, and this is your power module, your power supply. And then what happens is then the power, we've got the 2 fans here, which go past both of the all the heat sinks here. But then power comes out of here and then goes into this. This is the output module board. You can see you've got your output caps, your chokes, and your ceramic caps, etc. like that. Now, what we found, or rather what I found, because it's only me doing it, is if you look right there in that corner, I'll get that as close as I can to you, you can see in the middle of the screen, you've got 2 ceramic caps. One of them is like a broken tooth, and there's a cracked item on that. And again, if you look behind or very, very near that, you can see those 2 green capacitors above it. One of them is slightly misshapen and is starting to rip apart. So, the ceramic cap is broken, and the capacitor behind it is broken as well. That is where it's starting to peel apart. That's probably where the smoky, burning plastic smell is coming from. It's coming from that. Obviously, I've contacted Behringer. Now, who knows what else? Because obviously, the cap is broken. Probably broken in transport. They're not very strong. I mean, they feel like sugar cubes. You know, they're slightly grainy. They're ceramic. They're unpolished. But you know, all you got to do is bang it. Even though it's got a fitted padded case, it doesn't take much to bang it. More than likely, what's happened is this has been picked up because it has 4 feet on the bottom. It's been picked up, and more than likely, as it's been put down too hard, and it's cracked. Easily done. Now, you know, so that without doubt is the issue that they're having. The plastic smell. They're ramping up because it's overheating. I'm not sure what the components do. Like I say, I'm not an electrical engineer, but if I was to send this off to Dave Jones, who's the crazy Aussie bloke from EEV blog, who I've learnt an awful lot of stuff from. I still don't understand it all, but I got more of an idea of what kind of things do what. But I can't remember what that does because my brain isn't always wired that way, to use an electronic pun. So what I'm going to do is I've already phoned Behringer and spoken to my guy there. And because you never know what other kind of damage is here. Now, the power section has its own protection, but there might be something else on the output stage that is damaged. So what they've suggested, I mean, of course they're going to suggest to replace the entire board, whether it's a problem at component level or this, you know, because obviously there's, you know, there'll be FETs in there, there's many capacitors. None of the capacitors seem to be spewing out anything. Nothing else looks like it's released any of the magic smoke. So, you know, it's looking okay other than those 2 components. But what caused that? Now, could it be, because obviously you've got, you know, it's obviously something that's happened, you know, and we need to watch. Something has happened on the left output speaker, or output speaker B it is, but it could be that something from this speaker, maybe a slightly shorted cable. The other one's okay, so it might be a shorted cable. Whatever cable they've used, it might be that something is not right. Or a cable is touching another terminal slightly, so it's causing a power loop, like a power feedback, sending power, you know, crossing streams like Ghostbusters. Don't cross the streams. Never short out a cable. So that's probably what the problem is. I'm 100% certain. You know, I mean, I've got the little piece that goes in there. It's like a cap on a tooth. It really does feel like a tooth. Quite disgusting. So that appears to be the problem. So what we're going to do is, more than likely we're going to be replacing the board. I'm just waiting for confirmation on ordering the board, and then the next part of the video, which will be on the same video, so don't worry, you won't have to wait, we'll be taking this out, putting the new board in, and then reassembling. Okay? So I would say, without further ado, let's do it. But the next part of the video probably won't happen for at least a week, because I've got to wait for confirmation to order the part, and for the part to come in, and then we're ready to go. So it'll be a case of, there's a thumbs up, we're good to go, and switch. Okay, so here we are, a couple of days later, and the new board has arrived. So as you can see, the parts are not cracked. I've checked it all over. The resistors aren't splitting, so we seem to be doing well. Now, if there's a bit of a shakiness to the video, I do apologise. I'm under a fluorescent light because I'm doing this at night because I want to kind of get the stuff done. So obviously you're getting that reflective flicker that comes off from the 50-60 hertz refreshing of the light. So what we've got to do first, obviously, I mean, this is a new board that's come straight through from Music Group Europe, which is obviously Behringer, and we'll put that over there on the anti-stat mat. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull out the old board. quick transition there. Okay, so the desk is back together. It is powered up. I've got some music running into the desk, and I think we are about ready to go for an output test. So I've got the desk, just in case you're wondering. I've got the desk rigged up to these really old. They're about 40 years old, maybe even 50 years old. These kefs, rubber cones, basic tweeter, not very strong. I don't actually know the wattage of them. I'm going to do some new cases for these, and I'm going to get them painted up. These speakers are absolutely gorgeous. My dad gave me them. He bought them a long time ago, I think at a boot fair. But they are really old, but they are so nice. I'll see if I can find out some information particular about them. They've got a little label inside there. So without further ado, let's give this a little test. I'm not going to go particularly loud because it is 13 minutes to 11 midnight. Both outputs plugged in via speak-on to bare cable connectors on the back. I'd say that's successfully working. Oh yes. Lovely, 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 lovely. That's Tunes by Daft Punk there, just in case you're wondering. I did not write this piece of music, I wish I had. It's called End of Line by Daft Punk. It's off of the Tron Legacy album, in case you're wondering. So the soundtrack album, available on Disney Records probably. I'm not sure who Daft Punk are under. If it's not under Disney Records, it's under whatever label they're under. So yeah, I take no credit for that, but thank you. It's a good piece of music, and it works. It's alive. Well, anyway, brilliant. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, I'm going to continue to do some testing, but I would say that was a successful repair. Can't go wrong if you're buying a brand new board. So anyway, so yeah, that is the Behringer Europower PMP6000. That's a quick repair, bit of a teardown. Got any questions about this particular mixer, give me a shout in the comments below. Smash the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. More stuff will come. It's usually pretty slow because, like I say, I'm self-employed and it takes a bit of a time to put things together sometimes, as well as doing normal, real work, not just YouTube stuff. It's real work for those of you that are managing to do it full time. So I'm not dissing that. It's just some of us who can't do videos all the time have to do another job as well. So but thanks ever so much to all those YouTubers that do inspire the rest of us. So yeah, this is Austin Pure Music signing off. End of line.